Let's go to Jamie Benn. I believe his contract is now up with the Dallas Stars, but by all indications, he wants to be back. Go ahead and give me cut number 18. I'm guessing this isn't going to be a long answer from Jamie Benn.
I don't see myself going anywhere else. This is all I know, so hopefully we can get something figured out, and then I don't have to answer these questions.
So, fair. So, Jamie Benn finishing up an 8-year, what I think was proven to show a poor $76 million contract. Now, if you want to start sending in, like, how amazing he was in the locker room and everything like that, like, right on. I'm not disputing that. But you paid him at the top end of NHL players, and there is no question that for a bulk of that run, Jamie Benn did not play as a top-end player.
Jim Nill's been here since 2013, so he gets that, correct? Like, that's on him. And
the Sagan extension, too.
That's like, that is kind of looked at as an albatross at this point, right? I'm with Roope. If you've listened to him on Sean and RJ and Bobby and Peyton show this morning, I'm right there with him. What is the thing that he has left?
Physicality.
Maybe. Honestly, leadership was what the C is. The captaincy is what he has.
Yeah.
And they said, but he's a leader. And he said, where was he whenever Roope got hit in the foot? Yep. And then they did it again. Yep. Where was he then? And maybe it was, he was like, I can't take these stupid penalties. Coach keeps telling me I can't go be the enforcer, whatever. That's the only thing that I think we have left with him. There was a time when he was 200-foot skater. He was the 200-foot player, dude. He was that guy. And you probably expected a continued upward trajectory of him for that matter. And it didn't seem to pan out. His contract's up.
Yep.
They do not have to bring him back.
Correct.
And at the age of 36 years old, I think it is time to tip your cap and say we appreciate you.
Agreed.
The player will want to continue playing because he wants a cup.
And so can I tell you, that's one of my hesitations to bring him back, is if you were like, what if he would come back on like a 1-year, $2.5 million deal? Like, I hear you on that, but he's still going to take up 15 minutes of ice time. If you tell me that you're going to give him a vet minimum and he knows that he's going to go out
7
there.
to 8 minutes.
Yeah, or maybe even less than that. Then I would be willing to listen to that. But that feels like that might not be what he wants, and it does feel like it would be somewhat disrespectful from the Stars if that's how they went through it without everybody being on the same page. If everybody is on the same page about all of this, then that kind of changes the dynamic. So let's assume then that he's out the door and Jamie Benn does not come back. Who takes the captaincy?
That's a good question.
Because it's to me,
Maverick Bork.
Oh man. Okay, maybe. It would not be Tyler Sagan, because you're running into the exact same thing. I get it, leadership and everything like that, but if you run into a player who shows flashes of production but is just not really one of the dudes anymore, I wouldn't do that. So I think there's a clear choice, and I think there are a couple of other choices if you want to potentially go a little bolder.
Ooh, you said a clear choice.
To me, there's a clear choice, and that is Miro. I think Miro is your clear choice, but let's go in a different direction. You want to be bold with it. The Stars say
he's 25.
I know.
And he already has the respect amongst the league. Like, just think about it. Everybody throughout the playoffs was talking about when Miro gets back. Yeah. Not just locally. They were talking about it nationally. And this dude's 25 years old, and when he stepped onto the ice, you knew it. You were like, oh, that's why. And the work that he puts in, the way he goes about it. I don't know his connection with his teammates, but it seemed pretty obvious that all of them couldn't wait for him to come back, and they were excited when he was.
Yeah. And because somebody did ask, and it's a fair question.
And Rantanen's here for a while.
Yes.
So a Finnish player being the captain could be a positive thing there too.
And see, okay, that's an interesting point. I want to get back to that in just 1 second. But when you say loud enough, there can be the verbal person who's loud enough, obviously. But then what Corey said is when he got on the ice, you knew it. And everybody knew it. Everybody could see it. By the way.
And Jamie Benn used to be that.
Sure.
Like there was a time, if you go back to watching Stars hockey, and I know that it never, again, didn't ultimately pan out ever with him. But we remember those times when we'd watch, we were like, oh, yeah, we know Jamie Benn. When he steps on the ice, he's hitting, he's scoring, he's doing all these things because he was special at the time.
Unless they changed the rule in the last couple months, and if they did, I apologize for not knowing. Goalies are not allowed to be captains or alternate captains.
Do we need a rule for this?
I don't know. It's just what the NHL has in place. It's probably a rule from like 100 years ago that nobody ever changed.
Then you know what? Let's actually just put a C on an actual otter and just send that out on the ice as an honorary captain.
Sea otter. I get it. I get what you're doing there. Because multiple people were asking about Ottinger being the captain. Right, unfortunately, right now, not just for the Stars, but for all NHL teams, I believe that's prohibited. Robertson was somebody that came up, but I feel like, not that you have to decide who's the captain based on what the people feel like, but it feels like enough people either think he's soft as a player or soft-spoken, and that wouldn't work.
I got a question about him.
Yeah?
What's his current contract?
I think he only has like a year left, maybe.
You think he's coming back? That's where I am. Okay.
But the fact that I would say it like that is probably indication.
That would be my question is, I don't know whether or not he's coming back. Do you want to put the C on somebody that could be gone the next year?
Fair. And that's why Miro, to me, makes sense.
He runs through 26, through 25, 26
Okay, so he has 1 year left. Yeah. All right, here's the other one. And somebody brought this up as a text, so I want to read this. I appreciate this. Wyatt Johnston should at least get an A or future C consideration. So captain, alternate captain, usually you'll see more than one alternate captain. But
makes sense.
Yeah, gonna throw this out there. Wyatt Johnston, he had a struggle of a playoffs. But the consensus from the Stars is, whether it's because of the money that they gave him or whether it's because of all the stuff you heard about him from the Stars organization in the playoffs, is they seem to believe in him a great deal. So Miro would be my most logical choice. Wyatt Johnston would be my bold choice if they're like, no. This is the next wave. You're going to lead the next wave. Here's the C for your jersey.
In 56 games played in the playoffs, he has 18 goals, 14 assists, 32 overall points at a -16.
And this playoffs crush that. Like really in a bad, unfortunate
those
way.
numbers, like 18 goals is pretty good. Like that's in the playoffs, you're like, man, I'd like to see a little bit more production. This year, like you just said, was the reason.
Yeah. It's kind of a tale of two playoffs if you look at this year and last year.
And you know what? When I hear him talk, he does stand up in front of that room. Not necessarily the players, but he stands up in front of the media and says the right things.
Yeah.
He's learned from the best in Pavelski when it comes to that part of it. So I would be hopeful that now Pavelski never won a championship too, so maybe that wouldn't be good to have him as your captain. So, but he's got a lot of the great qualities at such a young age. 22 years old to be the captain would be a little. I would say Miro's the better one for me. Although Wyatt is clearly right there in the conversation, he's just a little young for me.
Would you consider Rantanen? And the only reason I consider is because he's new to this.
Everybody,
team.
Yes, you're right. He's not a star. He's
like in terms of a Dallas star, not a star in
Jamie Benn
hockey.
You drafted him. He was your guy. He's your guy. Pavelski, those guys come into your system, but they're not your guys. And you kind of want that to be the thing. This is one that he started as this. He understands the organization, all of this stuff. And this is again, if Jamie Benn doesn't come back. If Jamie Benn does come back, does he still get the C? Do they just say, hey, we just keep it at that?
And that's part of the deal is I wonder, because he said he doesn't know anything else. He doesn't want to know anything else. I wonder because there's that pride factor, and I'm sure he thinks he has earned it and deserved it. And I would argue, obviously, he has. But now, then my question would become, would he come back if you're like, but you're not going to be the captain anymore?
I don't know. Yeah, that would be a really weird thing there.
So if you just
Rantanen makes sense because he's the best player on the ice for the team.
And I bet you could. I might argue that with Miro, but that's just because Mikko has these unbelievable highs that can't be touched, but also lows that are lower than Miro.
Yeah, I agree. Best real offensive player. Miro's an offensive player as a great defensive player too.
And but I see some people mentioning Hintz as well.
Well, and Roope's name pops into my mind too. The fact that you have so many Finnish players on this team, like that's a thing that makes sense. We talk about the Rangers, and it's sometimes a split clubhouse, and you have one leader for Latin players, one leader for the U.S. born players, and so it's kind of you walk in, you can see the way the clubhouse is kind of set up, who's sitting next to who because of friendships. And so I do wonder how much the Rantanen's nationality, along with a lot of these players, matters. But again, you just named Roope, Mir, all those guys are the same. So this is a very. They have a lot of guys that could be.
So if there's a new captain,
with the most star power is Mikko.
Put your money on a Finnish player. Is that what you're?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Just go ahead and give it to Granlund.
Okay. Well, yeah.
I'll take Roope, though.
Actually, the
Roope.
interesting thing about Granlund, and maybe we'll dive into this all a little bit more tomorrow, he's one of their unrestricted free agents. Maverick Bourque is restricted, but Benn, Duchesne, Dodonov, Granlund, Ceci, these are some of your more prominent unrestricted free agents that you're looking at for a team with not a ton of money in the offseason.